All right, welcome back to the program. Let's quickly take you through some of the MPC takeaways. That's just a summary of what the MPC decisions were about, or perhaps what the communique contains. The two-day policy meeting that started on Monday and ended on Tuesday. So let's quickly bring you some of that. In fact, the MPC noted that there will be an uneven global growth due to the non-commencement of vaccination in emerging and developing economies. We're seeing what is happening right now around vaccine nationalism and the politics around vaccination. The MPC also noted that the Q4 GDP growth was marginal and it was driven by non-oil sector. The Monetary Policy Committee also did say on Tuesday that rising inflation was due to higher food prices. And why we're having higher food prices is because of the insecurity, the worsening insecurity situation in the country, I must say. Now, for core inflation, it was driven by hike in petrol prices, electricity tariffs, as well as the Naira depreciation. The MPC also noted that banks' credit to the economy as at February 2021 stood at 43.67 trillion Naira. And if we're talking about the banks, they also did mention, they did talk about the CAR, which is the capital adequacy ratio. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, that's this. You know, so many acronyms and abbreviations that you've got to be very used to. Capital adequacy ratio of the banks and the non-performing loans at around, I think about 6%, right about now, while the CAR, capital adequacy ratio, stands around 15.2%. MPR ratio at around 6.3%. Okay, what next? External reserves stood at $36.46 billion as at the end of February 2021. In fact, let's also quickly give you a breakdown of how much funds have been disbursed so far. As at, I should say February 2021, yes, if I'm not mistaken, as at February 2021, to different intervention facilities. You know that the Central Bank of Nigeria has different interventions, and let's just give you the numbers so that you have a better perspective on all of that. 107.6 billion naira disbursed to 546,109 farmers to boost dry season outputs. 1.48 trillion naira has been disbursed so far to various agricultural programs. That would include Anchor Borers program. That would also include, I think, some other programs such as the Accelerated Development Program, I think the ADP and what have you. 601.75 billion naira has been disbursed under Anchor Borers program. 686.59 billion naira disbursed under CACS. CACS is the Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme. I did mention Anchor Borers program that has got up about 601.75 billion naira, and that has gotten to 3,038,649 farmers to boost food supply and dampen inflationary pressures. Under the COVID-19 targeted credit facility, the bank says that it has disbursed 218.16 billion naira to 475,376 beneficiaries, of which 34% of those beneficiaries are SMEs. Under AXMEs, 111.62 billion naira has been disbursed to 29,961 beneficiaries, 70% of which are in the agricultural space. Then in the creative industry, the Central Bank of Nigeria says that 3.19 billion naira has been disbursed to 341 beneficiaries, of which 53% is in the movie industry, perhaps to get a better Nollywood than we have right now, and that Nollywood should develop more than it is right now. Then to discos, for the National Mass Metering Program, 33.45 billion naira has been disbursed to 9 discos for the procurement of 605,852 meters, while 89.89 billion naira has been disbursed under the Nigeria Electricity Market Stabilization Facility 2 to 11 discos to improve electricity supply in Nigeria. But Nigerians will say, where's the power? Only God said, let there be light, and there was light. In Nigeria, let there be light, no light. All right, let's quickly take some of the excerpts from the Central Bank Governor. In case you did not see that, you didn't watch that broadcast here on African Independent Television on Tuesday, this would just take you through the questions or the answers that the Central Bank Governor gave to the questions that were asked yesterday. And when we come back, Dr. Hassan Mahmud will be seated with me here at the table. We'll be taking a look at this 10-page communique. Where is it? 10-page communique. The devil in the details. We'll be right back.
Nigeria has not changed from its foreign exchange management policies. Nigeria still remains on a managed float. What does the managed float regime mean? That the central bank, being the institution that has a core mandate for foreign exchange management in the country, would run the market, see to how the market operates, depending on its reading about how exchange rate moves in the market, will come from time to intervene in the foreign exchange market. It might interest us to know that since January, the CBN has not intervened in the I&E window. The market has always operated within a band of around close to about 409. In fact, at some point, it attained 412, went to 413, and began to move. And that is where it's supposed to move. And then central bank's job is to watch the market and see how it's operating, and from there determine whether or not it should intervene to moderate the rate in the market in line with our own reading of where we think exchange rate should be. So when Bloomberg begins to conclude from the statements of the minister, which I believe is not true because I have not heard that audio, that we have moved into a flexible exchange rate regime, I would just try to appeal to members of our press community that when you have an information, it is always better for you to seek clarification, particularly from the authority. Section 2A of the CBN Act, and I will read, places the object, it says the principal object of the CBN shall be A, ensure monetary and price stability. B, right, issue legal currency in Nigeria. C, maintain external reserves to safeguard the international value of the legal tender. That means that the core mandate for determination of exchange rate rests with the CBN. We have been working with the Ministry of Finance, with the government, to see to how we moderate and see to it that we achieve a stable exchange rate regime in the country. Like you know, the USSD is a technology that is available, that is offered by the telcos. It is a technology through which monies can be transferred from one person to another. And it is one very effective technology that the banks have seen that in collaboration with the telcos, we can use to deepen financial inclusion in Nigeria. We had hoped that in 2020, by 2021, or by the end of 2020, that the rate of financial inclusion would have been deepened to almost about 80%. What are we saying? That 80% of our people should be able to access banking or financial services. But I'm not sure we quite achieved that because we have moved close to 70. And for us to be able to deepen financial inclusion, the USSD technology is needed for us to do so. Before the impasse between the banks and the telcos, the customers, through the banks, were being charged as high as almost 14 or 16 naira for a session of USSD. It triggered this disagreement. The CBN said that banks cannot be charged. The NCC said the customers cannot be charged. It created some disagreement where we had some deadlock, but eventually the NCC, who is the regulator of the telecom, the CBN, regulator of the banks, came together with the banks and telcos and resolved that the cost of USSD will be a maximum of 6 naira 98 kobo. So what does that mean? If you are lucky, you could be charged less than 6 naira 98 kobo, but the maximum will be 6 naira 98 kobo rather than 14 or 16 naira that people were paying before. So I would imagine that we will benefit more of financial inclusion, and then we'll also find that it will result in also cost savings to the users of the USSD facility. Well, let me say that we are doing everything possible to put in place policies that benefit all Nigerians. All Nigerians. And CBN is very conscious of the fact that our youth population of between, I repeat, 18 to about 40, 45 constitute close to 60% of our population. And we are doing everything possible to ensure that we take them into account in all our policy decisions. The level of unemployment is regrettable, but I'm saying everything is being done. And I give an example. I read how much we have granted in loans under our Creative Industry Financial Initiative, which is primarily for the youth. Almost close to about 3.5 billion naira has been disbursed. Our AXMIS fund, right, is substantially being disbursed to people in this age. I would imagine that AXMIS fund, where we have disbursed almost close to about 150 billion naira, has been disbursed to nothing less than 60% of the people in this bracket. 3, only recently, like I said, the president gave approval for the repositioning, rebuilding, and renewal of National Arts Theatre. Aside from renewing and repositioning National Arts Theatre, 4 economic hubs are to be built around the National Arts Theatre for movie, for music, for fashion design, and for ICT software development. These projects, which will be a total urban renewal for Lagos, and after being completed, we'll go to another one will be established somewhere in the north, another one in the southeast, south area. It's going to be costing the bankers committee, not the government, not the CBN, over 40 billion naira. And this is meant to help stimulate the entrepreneurial skills of our youth, improve the tourism capacity of our country, so that our youth can enjoy Nigeria. With efforts being made to secure our land, our youth will be able to move around and do their business. That is what we're doing. So to say that our policies are targeted against the youth is something that is strange to me, but I thought I should use this to use the data just provided to defend ourselves, that our policies are not targeted against the youths of this country. I'll say that part of the measures that we have adopted is that on a weekly basis, the CBN disburses not less than $80 million to the banks, either for PTAs, that's personal travels, or business travels, or payment of school fees. And we have decided, indeed, management will be deciding on how we're going to create a desk, a complaints desk, where you can call us or call some of our people who will respond. It's like, what's it called, those kind of desks, call centers, where people can call that he went to a particular bank and he didn't get money to pay school fees, or he didn't get money to travel. We are aggressively focusing on diaspora remittances. 4, we are looking to how we can continue to encourage foreign investors into the country. So we are very, very optimistic that there is enough, and there will continue to be enough foreign exchange for people to meet their obligations. We just need people to be patient. I repeat, lastly, we just managed to crawl out of recession. And what does that also mean? That we had made promise to everybody. We did that in 2016-17, that if you have a foreign currency obligation, you will not lose your money. And I can beat my chest and say that during that period, nobody lost a cent of his money. And I'm also saying so, and repeating myself again, that if you have any foreign currency obligation, your obligations will be met. There's no need for everybody to rush to the door at the same time, creating panic and giving speculators an opportunity to rip us off.